Oh, yeah, we're back. That's right. Due to another life induced hiatus, I had to take a few weeks off. Your Uncle Trav is back. It's all good. We're back with the campaign notes. All right. Tonight's topic is something that would appeal to a lot of people playing anthro or furry characters. Now, of course, we're going to go with the disclaimer. Any publication that I talk about tonight or any publisher I'm not getting compensated by these people. I talk about them because I use them. I like their work. I may be even with friends with some of them. Being in the role playing game industry, there are ones that I know or have known over the decades. Also, of course, I'm not getting, this aren't part of TriTag Games or anything, despite my long term connection with them. This is my own gig. So, welcome back to Uncle Trav's campaign notes. I would be the man with his name on the title, Uncle Trav. As I said, tonight we are doing playing anthropomorphic characters. Now, anthropomorphism is a term that has been around for a long time. Now, I am here at Damien Marie at hope.com. I looked around for the oldest anthropomorphic pre-animism art. Now, the world's oldest sculpture, Venus of Barakat Ram, is anywhere from 233,000 to 500,000 years old. And it's a pebble that was found basically near the Golan Heights in Israel. Anthropomorphism is the attribution of human traits, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities. It is considered an innate tendency of human psychology. Yes, this has been proven by our various pantheons of mythology over the millennia. You got Greek mythology with the Minotaur. You have Egyptian mythology with Thoth, the god of knowledge, looking like an ibis, kind of a stork, with the pointy and, that favorite god, it is Anubis. He's got the jackal look to him. Of course, we have anthropomorphic races all throughout our fantasy games. Everything from orcs that look like pigs to gnolls, lizard folk. Minotaurs are in that as well. And we have a metric butt ton of anthropomorphic characters. I mean, we're ranging back all the way from Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, anything in our modern American cartoons. Anime has them. Hell, Japan has the kappa, which is a humanoid turtle with this indentation in his head that has water in it. Now, if the water gets dumped out of that indentation, you can control and even kill the kappa. But yeah, no, so you can go anywhere on this planet. Look on any culture's mythology or legends, and there's going to be some anthropomorphic animal being in that. We even have them here in America. Personification is the related attribution of human form and characteristics to abstract concepts such as nations, emotions, and natural forces like seasons and the weather. Both have ancient roots in storytelling and artistic devices, And most cultures have traditional fables with anthropomorphized animals as characters. From the beginnings of human behavioral modernity in the Upper Paleolithic, about 40,000 years ago, examples of zoomorphic or animal-shaped works of art occur that may represent the earliest evidence we have of anthropomorphism. So, what we know as furries today have been around for millennia. Actually, 500,000 years ago, that would be 5 eons. We've had things that might be considered furries or anthro characters for 5 eons on this planet. This isn't a new topic. So yes, now as you know, part of my jam here is, hold it. There we go. The old school RPG report. Now, I have a very venerable anthro RPG. And I've got one that's relatively newer. It's only come out maybe in the past 5-6 years. Now, my first one, and here's the thing, I met this man. I role played with this man. Sadly, we lost him to cancer a while back. He created both the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangenesses RPG for Palladium Books, as well as After the Bomb. Now, after Palladium lost the license for TNMT, they used After the Bomb as their anthropomorphic RPG in the Palladium Megaverse. That would be this book right here. Yes. After the Bomb by Eric Wujcik. Now, I got to roleplay with Eric Wujcik, oh god, this was 30 years ago at the Lighthouse Gaming Club on the Detroit River in downtown Detroit. I took myself and my friend Victor Vespa. Now, Victor, he and I did a game of Battletech, and his mech got a headshot, so he just got to sit there, and yeah, I think that kind of probably would turn him off a roleplay. I later got to play a game kind of like Eric threw it together. It was kind of like Paranoia. It was called Entropy. And sadly, as I said, Eric Wujcik is no longer with us. He was a very, very close friend of Kevin Simbita and a core part of the Palladium Book Company. And so Eric also did the Amber Diceless RPG. Oh, and Ninjas and Super Spies for Palladium. So Eric was a venerable role-playing game designer. And so After the Bomb, for the Palladium Megaverse, which you can hook into Rifts, you can make anthropomorphic characters, and they have this stat called Bio-E, where you get a certain amount of points due to animal type and size and whatnot. And you can sit there and define, okay, how human do I look? Do I have hands? If I am avian, do I have wings or just glider membranes, with feathers? My senses, your level of speech capability, or you have telepathy, or if you don't have hands, you get telekinesis. That is their metric for building all sorts of anthro characters. And of course, Eric had to... Now, After the Bomb was originally just a adjunct series to TNMT. But when Palladium lost the TNMT license, I guess they got it back because they put all their books together with brand schwanky new covers, and there was a Kickstarter and everything. But after the TNMT license was lost, Eric went back, and this is just a few years before he passed away. And I heard his cancer was aggressive as fuck. Fuck cancer. I lost both of my mentors to cancer, so it's a hot button with me. But Eric made After the Bomb to be the standalone anthropomorphic animal RPG game. Yeah, it's like ATM machine. RPG for the Palladium Books catalog, their body of work. And it's still there today, and you can go to like DriveThruRPG, or to get the hard copy, palladiumbooks.com. Let's just take a look at that ISBN here to see how much it is. Oh, it is $20.95 here. Yes, so about $21 you get this book, and it's about 200 pages. And you can go to DriveThruRPG and get all the After the Bomb maps, because there's maps of how the After the Bomb world is all over the world. Jakarta, England, South America, because there's mutants in the Yucatan, there's mutants in Avalon, there's mutants down under. And so Eric and Kevin and all them made pretty much the entire world. Okay, after the crash, or they called it in Australia and Jakarta, after the prang. These are the type of humans that mutated. And we'll be talking about that too later on. Are your mutant animals outcasts, where if they are out seen in the broad daylight, people would run, or are they just part of the society? For some reason, mutant animals are a thing. That's usually after a post-apocalyptic type deal, like in After the Bomb. Now, with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which here's a weird thing, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the creators, they were huge fans of Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. So the canister that blinded Matt Murdock when it cracked open, another one, their headcanon is, yeah, the whole TCRI thing, because they never identified the company that dumped out those canisters that blinded Matt. Another canister went down the sewers, and those 4 turtles that got caught in it, the mutagenic ooze. They became the turtles. Splinter got him. He got it. He became Splinter. I don't like the cartoon thing where, oh, he was a human turned into a rat. No, he was a rat all along. He just got mutated and evolved into an anthropomorphic form. Read like crazy and learned about Renaissance artists and named his, well, 4 sons. So, but that is a popular headcanon that Eastman and Laird have even said, yeah, no, we were huge fans of Frank Miller and his work in Daredevil. Same stuff that took out Matt Murdock's vision and made the Turtles. So yeah, you can go to palladiumbooks.com and get that hard copy. You can go to Drive-Thru RPG, that is, again, DRIVETHRURPG.com, to get the PDF. PDF is obviously going to be a lot cheaper because, books, it's that whole printing cost thing. Now, my other RPG review tonight, I use his work. It does work for me, but this is another case of separating art from artists. And my dear buddy Big Irish has, he hasn't criticized me, but he says, yeah, because of his views and everything, I never reviewed his work. Chris A. Field of Scorched Earth Studios has a pretty decent, now of course again it's PDF only, so it is called Fursona Unleashed. Now this is for Pathfinder, so it is OGL. He did 4 Fursona books, and they covered the gamut for, modern day to back in Japan to mutants to Fursona Unleashed, combine them all together for the Pathfinder First E. So, it's feat-based, and there are these things called Gifts of Nature. And you can get disadvantages to get more of them, and these disadvantages range, oh no, I don't have hands, I have hooves, so I can't handle objects. Or, the reason why I'm a mutant animal is because I'm actually sent from a deific realm. Like, I'm Egyptian, or I am Greek, or I am, Norse didn't have anything anthropomorphic. I don't think Babylonian did. Egyptian and Greek are the two that have anthropomorphism heavy. Again, Thoth and Anubis, and then, the Greek Minotaur, half man, half bull. So, yeah. Fursona Unleashed, yeah, it's feat-based, and they are still humanoids, but they have the anthro subtype, which means then they have all access to all these gifts of nature. Now, these gifts of nature can be also just having animal senses. Oh, yeah, no, he has scent, and he can, burrow, and he has dark light, dark vision and low light vision, and he has claws or the gore if he's, bovine or, like a deer or something. They got the antlers. And so Fursona Unleashed, yeah, I do like it for OGL anthro characters. Now, y'all are probably watching this right now either on Twitch or later on YouTube. Uncle Trav, what got you into anthro characters? Do you consider yourself a furry? Do you have a fursuit? I don't consider myself a furry, despite the beard. And I don't have a fursuit. However, I do have, characters that I have played or made up over the decades that would be considered anthro characters. Now, the ones that I guess, embody the most, and I have pictures of them. I have art. I have very talented friends who have drawn these for me over the decades. I have 4 anthro characters. All of them in one... Well, 3 out of 4 of them originally had to do with my Travelers universe, the very comic book universe. And a matter of fact, I have something special here. This is the only one of the few copies of the Travelers comic book that I made, that I wrote back in 92. This comic book universe is the reason why you have this today. And that is why I took this name. This comic book. It is cyberpunk dystopian 4-color superheroes. Now this type of book, because it's just 8.5 by 11, it's called, see, you fold it, unfold it like this, and it's the normal size of 8.5 by 11. It is called an Ashcan edition. Now, In the world that I made, 3 out of the 4 of the characters I'm going to be talking that are my furry characters come from this book's universe. Now, the first one is this little beastie right here. His name is Talon Greyhawk. He is an anthropomorphic goshawk, which means he's about 3 feet tall. He is... I look back now, he had a Rocket Raccoon type attitude. Yeah, you better do this or I swear to God, I'll rip you apart. Talon was acerbic. He was an acerbic dickhead. And he originally came from a different universe where one of my characters that I've used far since, Hieronymus Michaels, found him. He had already been mutated and raised him to be very scientifically gifted. And it was in what would later be called today a smart house. AI was in the house and it controlled everything and it helped Talon out. Well, when Hieronymus died, Talon was drawn to the Earth that the rest of the travelers are on, and he sort of had to make his way there. And Talon could fly, and he also had, if you saw the 2 bracers on his wrists, one was a force field, one was a plasma blast, and when he put them together, it was a force field. A force field that burned. So, yeah, that was probably one of my first anthro characters I'd ever made. And, of course, he had, the incredibly sharp vision, and he had the talons, and he had the 2, like this, and he would grab things. So he wasn't all that dexterous, so he had to learn how to, tech was a little hard for him to put together, but he could do it. And he was brought by... from his original timeline, or what I called in the comic universe a splinter, by Dorian Galviano, Dor-Ghul, the main bad guy, the extra-dimensional entity who wanted to let humanity grind itself out of existence due to consumerism and greed. So yeah, Talon Greyhawk is my first furry anthro character ever. And if I could ever have this colorized or something, that would be wonderful. Now... the other 2 that I have from the Traveler's universe, and I have since transplanted them to the Bureau 13 universe I have, are Zath and Anu Ryander. This one is a Pegasusian. This one is a Narwhalian. All Pegasusians were Pegasusians until something called the Grey Event turned a portion of the race into Narwhalians. Instead of humanoid Pegasi, you had humanoid unicorns. This art here was done by, and it was Sarah? Yes, Sarah Kuntz, one of my first proteges. Talented artist up in Maine. This one is done by Lar D'Souza. D'Souza? Desouza. My buddy Breakman Z, also here on Twitch, knows Lar. Lar's recent work was sort of an I like Ike looking button during COVID that said, relax, it's just allergies. This is an old school Lar D'Souza drawing. And this is what shaped Anu Triar Ryander. This was just something I came up with, and Sarah personalized it like this. These people are now in my Bureau 13 universe, and they help Team Candlestick out when they're out in space. The Pegasusian Royal Navy is like a space fleet that has found Enshani ships. So this is from the Bureau 13 and Incursion games from Tritech. They've been weaved far into my metaverse. So yes, Zath is not only a starship officer of the highest caliber, he is also a master psionic. Anu, because she is Narwhalian, the psionics turned into magic. The Grey Event was a magical extra-dimensional event that happened within the Pegasus system. And I never put where Pegasus was out in space. I've not gotten that far. I might someday. Just to, lock it in. But Anu is a arcane magic user. She would be a D&D Pathfinder sorcerer. and just the arcane bloodline, because she has just this magically infused energy altered 1 or 2% of the Pegasusian population to turn them into Narwhalians. The Narwhalians helped the Pegasusians find other magic in the universe in their explorations. The Pegas Space Navy, not Royal Navy, yeah, it was Space Navy. It's been a while since I've used these characters. They had their own ships, but then they found the Enshani God Tech ships that are in the Tritech games role-playing game Incursion. They started exploring the galaxy and found both Enshani and other worlds' techs and magic and psi, and they just expand their. And Anyu's uncle, who is a senator. Now imagine a Senator Palpatine, humanoid unicorn, that instead of using the psionics, the Force, he was a magic user as well. He has been one of my most long-standing villains. And I might have talked about this in iconic characters. But I used Zath and Anyu in the old AOL role-playing chat rooms back in the late 80s, late 90s. Like 97, 98, where I met people such as Shannon Gallatin, Heather Wise, now Heather Villey, Sarah, I met her, Laura Prock, who played an Averial named Allie. Sarah played a Viridian, kind of a space drow named Tyren. So I brought Zath and Anyu and Udent into these worlds, and they killed Udent off. But I played him so well, even back in 97, 98, they asked me to bring him back, and so I did. Udent, you could just basically say now he's Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, humanoid unicorn who uses magic. And I really put up the cloning thing. A big part of my previous Bureau 13 campaign with TCS 2.0 is that Udent had cloning chambers all over the spiral arm, so my iconic Bureau character, Commander Daniel Stewart, and the second incarnation of TCS 2.0, and let's see, that was, I think, Pixie, Jeff DeReff, Breakman Z, and Fur. And they were all over the galaxy trying to track all these down, because every time they killed him, he had techno magic labs that, okay, yeah, I'm on the other side of the spiral arm and I'm back. And so finally they really had to just hunt down the last cloning facility that would be out in deep space and all techno magic, and yeah. And just, it was a pain in the ass for them. I finally, except for time travel, and Udent did time travel with that. It's how I started another Bureau 13, my Black Powder campaign. Because Daniel was back then, because Udent was trying to say, yes, if I get rid of magic in the Bureau, Team Candlestick won't exist. Because half of their original members were magic users. And so he tried to go back in time to stop magic from entering the Bureau, and Daniel was like, no. You know, he did the Graham Chapman Monty Python. Stop that, that's silly. You know. So yes, Udent and Anyu Ryander. Those are the second and third of my furry characters. Now the fourth one I've never got to play. But the origin of this one is really weird. I never came up with it in-game, but at the former Wonderland Mall in Livonia, Michigan, there was a pet store called Doctor, Docktor. And my first wife and I, decades ago, this was before my kid was born. So this is late 80s, early 90s. They had this beautiful Australian Shepherd. And it had that, where one eye is different from the other color-wise. I think it's called polychromaticism or something like that. But this dog had one brown eye and one blue eye. And so I had, and this was another Sarah Kuntz drawing, Azure, a female Australian sheepdog. So, a bitch, you know. I looked this anthro into the windows, and I said, bitch. So yeah, I've had that character Azure now for decades, and I've never used her. I've wanted to. I've kept that picture, the scan of that picture that Sarah made me for like since the late '90s. It's just I've never had a chance to use Azure. So those are my 4 anthro furry characters, the ones that I've used over the decades in one way or another. I really don't recall any other furry characters that I've ever made. I would have to say Zath. Talon originally, I would have to say if I had a fursona, it would be Zath because he is dutiful, kind, helpful to his friends, dangerous to his enemies, and just he cares for the people in his life dearly and would bend time and space to do so. And the way I put Zath, because Zath was in the Travelers universe and he's also in the Bureau 13 universe. Zath in the Travelers universe, he was not part of the Pegasusian Space Navy. Imagine kind of a space Starjammers type thing. A bunch of disparate aliens all together trying to escape something chasing them. Zath being the most regal and military-minded, he was the de facto leader, and then there were a bunch of others. And so Zath interacted with the Travelers, including my iconic character Power. Now, Zath in the Bureau 13 universe, Udin was the person that gave half the team their powers due to a warp experiment gone funky. And so, Zath got to know Daniel and Michelle, the 2 characters that Daniel got his mental faculties jacked up. Michelle got her physical skill abilities jacked up. So you had this techno-magic warping device that they were trying to, travel even faster. And Senator Udin Triar, who later took over Pegasus, and him and Daniel Stewart have been arch enemies ever since. Well, in my canon, he's now finally gone, barring some other event, time travel, or what have you. And so this Zath had always been, he's a career PSN officer and captain of the ship the Oprere, O''Prer. And so, yeah, Zath I've just always had, and I would probably consider him my fursona if I have one. Because you can't use spirit animal because that's cultural appropriation of a Native American term. And let's face it, Patronus, J.K. Rowling, richest woman on the planet, and she decides to use her powers for evil instead of good. And again, I'm going to go off on a little bit of Trav rant here. You usually get these on the Travcast. I'm putting it here. Hello, dear. J.K. Rowling did not have these damn views that she's got now, these anti-trans views of hers. She wasn't having them when she was a single mom, writing down everything for Harry Potter in an Edinburgh, Scotland coffee shop. Y'all notice this shit started after the 8th movie was done. She's trying to stay in the news and get more money. Or at least more face time. She's trying to stay in the public consciousness, but she decides to be a TERF. Now, I believe that is trans-exclusionary radical feminist, which means, yeah, you're a feminist, but trans men are men, trans women are women. She does not believe that trans women are women, so that is why she is looked down upon. And there are some people that if you mention you like Harry Potter, you are them. You are, okay, we don't like you because you follow this person. Now, I know people who have separated art from artists. Hell, I do it so much, like I had to, I have to do with Chris A. Fields stuff. I have to do it so much that, I should be getting dental. Because there are so many people who've put out wonderful content over the decades, they've turned out to be scum. I could spend the rest of the remaining hour and a half naming people who they've fallen from grace in my eyes. J.K. Rowling is designed to use her power and influence that she has gained from writing this book series to be a TERF. You could do a lot better things with your notoriety than to try to villainize a subset of humanity who has enough trouble already just trying to exist. Just let these people be. Just let them live their lives. Don't use archaic fucking ideologies to try to shut them down. Hell, the night Trump got elected back in 2016, or no, late 2015, 8 trans people across the U.S. committed suicide that night. And it was because he had Pence as a vice president. They got enough problems going on. We don't need some rich lady from Britain who decided to pull these views out of her butt to give this group of humanity more shit that they have to deal with, and to fire up other people to come mess with them. So yeah, so you don't use Patronus as, oh, I have an anthropomorphic personality. Use fursona. That's your ally tip from your old Uncle Trav here. So yeah, those are my 4 iconic characters, and I will show, because Fur is watching, Zathan Onurayander, Azure, and I don't think she's ever seen a copy of my Talon Greyhawk from the Travelers. Honey, this is the only one of the few copies of the Travelers comic book ever. I have one, Dean Stahl has one, Marv Wolfman, co-creator of the new Teen Titans, has one. Alright, now that we've gotten fursonas, my fursonas out of the way. History and mythology. Now, as I said, the first anthropomorphic picture, sculpture, whatever, is anywhere from 233,000 to 500,000 years old. Animism and anthropomorphism are a prime part of human psychology. We have anthropomorphized since humanity has started. And 5 eons ago, yeah, what was the stone called again? I had it here. It's some foreign-sounding name. The Venus of Barakat Ram. Found at Barakat Ram on the Golan Heights, Israel, between 2 layers of ash. Now, of course, we also have one of the oldest known as an ivory sculpture, the Lowenmensch figurine, Germany, a human-shaped figurine with the head of a lioness or lion, determined to be about 32,000 years old. A more recent example is the Sorcerer, an enigmatic cave painting from the Three Brothers Cave in Ariège, Trois Frères, Three Brothers. Ariège, France. The figure's significance is unknown, but is usually interpreted as some kind of great spirit or master of the animals. In either case, there is an element of anthropomorphism. This anthropomorphic art has been linked by archaeologist Stephen Mithen with the emergence of more systematic hunting practices in the Upper Paleolithic. Yes, again, I am at DamienMarie@hope.com. DAMIEN Marie@hope.com. And this is a whole thing I looked up. Okay, what is the earliest anthropomorphic art out there? Between 233 and 500,000 years ago. Furries are not a new thing. He proposes that these are a product of a change in the architecture of the human mind, an increasing fluidity between the natural history and social intelligence, where anthropomorphism allowed hunters to identify empathetically with hunted animals and better predict their own movements. Yeah, well, we humans hunted animals for survival, so we had to learn their tricks of the trade. Okay, they come to this part for water. They go do this. They walk this way. They run this way. Yeah, so we had to get to know animals because, to defeat your enemy, you must understand your enemy. Or in this case, your prey. So yes. Let's see here. Yeah, and you can go, as I said, you can go to all 6 of the continents. Every continent we have except Antarctica, and you can find instances of anthropomorphism. Africa, North and South America, Asia, Australia, Europe, yeah, they're all over. So yeah, it was a pebble, yeah, the Venus of Barakat Ram is a pebble found at Barakat Ram in Golan Heights, Israel. The base object is an anthropomorphic red tufic pebble, 1.4 inches long, which has had at least 3 grooves, possibly incised on it by a sharp-edged stone. Yeah. tephrochronology dating anywhere from 230,000 to 500,000 years ago. And so, yeah, no, it's just would have been made by Neanderthals or perhaps by Homo erectus, hunter-gatherers and Acheulean tool users. Oh, you're getting some deep history here, folks. Just putting that out there. And, oh no, this looks to be a very, and if I remember, I will put this link on the YouTube because I will be uploading this to YouTube later on. So, needless to say, between history and mythology, we have had. You can't turn and spit without hitting some example on our planet of anthropomorphism. Human animal hybrid concepts that have survived to this day. As I said, all the damn Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera and, you got Walt Disney, the mouse, the duck, Goofy, which is actually a dog, Clarabelle's the cow, all these, Scrooge McDuck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Minnie Mouse. Pluto could also be considered an anthro because, see, anthros, there's a wide range. I'll be talking about that later, about how anthro do you want to go with your character. So, yeah, you have perfect examples. All of our lives, we've dealt with anthros. And it's only in the past maybe 20, 30 years where the whole furry culture came out. I have an old flame of mine, her best friend is a furry. And from what I have found out, some of them get into that culture about, they'll do the high school mascot thing. Where it's like, wait a minute, I can dress around as an animal, and because it's at a sports event, ain't nobody gonna blink a damn eye. And there are furry forums, there are chat rooms, there are, social media groups. They're all out there, and they're all over the country. I do believe I don't think we have a furry con here in Michigan, but I do believe that in the Boston area, Arisia, as in the spelling of the yellow-skinned, yellow-haired Green Lantern, Arisia. I do believe that is a furry con in the greater Boston area. And I have my buddy, the person who's on before me on my show, is from the Boston. And when I've Boston, I know it just grates Wildcard's nerves. Because I do it every week as I, plug Wildcard show. Oh, yeah, Blind Wolves Rubber Room Association will be there, and 7 o'clock from the Boston area. But Arisia is a furry con, I believe, in that area. So you would need to look around, and these are just people who want to dress up as animals. And, of course, this brings up all the horse shit going on, that one jackass. Well, if this person wants to identify as a cat, I want to identify as an attack helicopter. Yeah, but you come off as a fucking idiot. And we need a lot less idiots in the world. So, yeah, we have just the anthro-furry context has been in our society since humanity was walking upright, if not before. And so, oh God, what is it that they call themselves? They identify as a fox or otherkin. That's what that term I was looking for, otherkin. Now, I have a few acquaintances in my many dealings with the Detroit fanish community, and they will put on their social media, I identify as otherkin. I consider myself a human. Hell, my roommate, he says, yeah, I'm just a dog in human form. Because you get a dog, oh no, he'll roll around with that dog. And it's very rare that dogs bite him. And the roomie has just said flat out, yeah, I'm a dog in human form. Yeah, hence the nickname Wolf. And just, yeah, so they decided, and this is probably within the past 10, 50 years, this whole thing of otherkin came out. Where, and you could even identify as a phoenix, or identify as, what's it, there's other mythological creatures I'm blanking on right now. So yeah, it's just our history and mythology excuse me, even up to modern day history, is just loaded with examples of anthropomorphism. Like Damien Marie at hope.com says, it's an innate part of our human psychology because we wish to understand animals and we just say, oh, yeah, and, again, the whole thing about the bird is the word and, the Family Guy thing. And, oh, everybody knows, yeah, Thoth is the knowledge and reading in Egypt because, after all, the bird is the word. And it's the picture of the very thin-beaked Egyptian god. Yeah. So it just, yeah, we have them all around. It's just, yeah, it's just how we are as a race, as a species. We do this. And of course, it has gotten into popular culture so much. Again, the biggest modern example would probably be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. As I said, I don't really see. Well, I mean, there is an example in anime, the Cabot Real Oki from Tenchi Universe and Tenchi Muyo. And I mean, it is a pet that does have some human character, and then it turns into a massive starship and has an addiction to earth carrots and everything. Yeah. Cat girls. That's probably your biggest one. That they look mostly human, but they got the tail and they got the ears sticking up through the hair. That's probably the biggest anime example of anthros. And cat girls, oh no, they're all over. You go to a Comic Con or you go to a Sci-Fi Con or whatever, if you don't see one cat girl at one of those cons, you're not looking. Problem is, they're not hard to miss. They are there. They make sure that they will, be there, and yeah, they make themselves be known. They are quite conspicuous. So yeah, it's just we have them, and research is your friend. Now, if you want to sit there and do yes, I wish to play, an avatar of Toth, and so he is of reading and wisdom and knowledge, and so you are this ibis humanoid. Another good example I could have, really, it would have kind of sort of fit in. Okay, D&D 3035 had Magic of Incarnum, where you started doing chakras and magic bound to that. Dreamscarred Press for Pathfinder changed it and turned it into Akashic Mysteries, where you have Akashic Magic, and they have these three races. One of them is a crocodile-based race, one is a falcon-based race, and there's a third one. They also have a monster race called a Ganeshti, which is a humanoid elephant of obviously Hindu influence. Hindu, Ganesh, the elephant god. Brahma, the bull god. And now, of course, that's right, the Brahma bull. Yeah. So, yeah, as I said, you can go anywhere on the 6 continents and find some example of anthropomorphism. You could sit there and play, I'm, water buffalo from Africa in humanoid form, or, humanoid elephant, or, oh God, what is the rate? And of course, the term should be changed, but the book was called back in the day Oriental Adventures. Hengo Yokai, that was it, where it was a human. It was sort of the Asian version of a lycanthrope, except it wasn't affected by lunar cycles. You had the human form, the hybrid form, which was often a fox or something, and then it could turn to a fox. Yeah, Henge Yokai, Hengeyokai. So yeah, they kind of have them in, what is the other game done by this guy? The hentai game that he basically ruined his career over. Oh yeah, Black Tokyo, where you get to play Henge Yokai and other anthropomorphic forms of a Japanese nature. So yeah, history and mythology. It can't turn and spit without hitting something of anthro origins. Now, playing the characters, there are things you got to take into account, not only for the character, but the setting that you're in. Now, the two biggest anthro settings, the anthro and, the setting mattering, you either have, they are outcast from society, or they are of society. They are the dominant part of the society. Now, obviously, something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they are outcasts. They're not supposed to be seen in public. They scare people. It takes a select few to not lose their shit when they see a 5.5 foot tall humanoid turtle with a colored bandana around and weapons on them. The turtles hide because humanity is not ready for their existence, and when they do, they're hounded, they're swamped. So yeah, that is usually how, if you were doing either, well, see, a fantasy campaign, they got anthro races all over the place. Now, there are a few that would be called character races. Most anthro races are considered monster races, and people don't like them. And, oh, humanoid lion, kill it, or, the humanoid hyena, a gnoll, or a orc, which often is considered a human pig hybrid, because a lot of orcs, except for Tolkien, they got away from that. But a lot of like D&D Pathfinder orcs have very porcine features. Porcine, it means pig-like. There are some people who've never heard of that term before, and I'm like, yeah, it means pig-like. Well, just say pig-like. Because I'd like to use the English language instead of, sinking down to a common denominator of duh. So yeah, fantasy games are full of anthropomorphic creatures, and a lot of them are like, you have we have a bird race, and what is it? Oh God, it was Carrie's character Kestrel, the Abachail. So avian race with the back wings, the shoulder, and a lot of times you're going to have, even if you are, and this is a convention with a lot of winged races, unless even if your body, your skeleton has like, it's very light bone, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have a light psionic power enough to lift your body to fly. The psychological crutch is that you got to be flapping your wings. Yeah. There was a book called The Science of the X-Men. I have it in my room. I should have thought about it. I should have brought it. They explained that Angel, Warren Worthington III, one of the original 5 X-Men, who now is like blue skin due to Apocalypse messing with him. Carbon tubing type bone structure where it's very light yet very strong, and there is a light telekinesis factor that allows Angel to fly. So yeah, that you have that, and just, but yeah, usually 9 times out of 10 you're going to play, if you're playing modern or most fantasy games, for one reason or another, you're going to have this anthropomorphic character be on the outskirts of society. Humanity and the other races are just like, no, we don't deal. No, you get your winged ass out of here. We don't serve your type. Go to the bird bath out there. We here on this video vlog podcast, we do not condone speciesism in any way, shape, or form, unless you're a vampire that sparkles. And in that case, get the hell out. Yeah. So it's the outcast thing where you're in hiding all the time. And you want to be part of, like Ariel, part of that world, that's about as most singing or attempting at singing you're going to get on this here. Just put that, write that shit down. Now, the other way to play it is that usually it's in a post-apocalyptic setting, like After the Bomb, or Gamma World, or, the two big, Gamma World is probably the biggest old school post-apocalyptic game, or After the Bomb, blanking on others, but humanity has damn near destroyed Earth, usually through nuclear or biological warfare. Now, as we know, mutations in real life often are deadly. You get cancerous tumors, you get deformities. Read the book from, I think it's from either the 60s or 70s, called Geek Love. I forget the author, but it's about these 2 circus performers who actually got their hands on radioactive material and kept birth, and they had like, a metric butt ton of kids. But because these parents were irradiating themselves, these kids were coming out deformed. And they did it as part of a geek show, a sideshow. They had their kids as sideshow freaks. And the book is called Geek Love. I remember hearing about it in like junior high, which for me was the early 80s. So this book probably came out in the late 60s, early 70s. And so they were willingly exposing themselves to lights amount of radiation so they could have deformed kids. And then, of course, the whole thalidomide thing, the drug that where the kids had no arms or no legs. They did, yeah. So humanoid animals start appearing in these societies due to the background radiation and chemical changes due to man's decide, we're going to, okay, you know what, we don't like your country, you don't like our country. DEFCON 5, DEFCON red, let the ICBMs fly. Let the bioengineered viruses fly. Humanity, there's very few members left, and so humanoid animals are often picking up the scraps and trying to, take try to become the masters of this world that has been thrust upon them. Again, probably the biggest example would be either Gamma World, the old TSR game, which has since been made by White Wolf Sword and Sorcery Studios. Yeah, there is a Gamma World D20. And then, of course, After the Bomb for Palladium's Megaverse, which is compatible with the Rift's rules. And you have, oh, look, I'm a humanoid mouse. I'm 3 feet tall. I know how to use tools. I was raised by a very old human. He passed away, and now I have all his tools. So I'm going to go around and fix stuff and try to, get a car going. Or, oh, look, this robot or whatever. Or I have this gun. And, of course, you're trading, like bullets for food rations and stuff. And you are a mutant animal, an anthropomorphized animal, walking what's another? Broken Earth. That was another one. Now, I use their settlement rules for some modern stuff. I forget who does Broken Earth. I'm blanking on the publisher. That's another post-apocalyptic game. But I do believe Delta World. Okay, Delta World, it could be better. This was a copy and paste book they threw together. Oh, we want to get into the post-apocalyptic RPG OGL game. So they pulled stuff from D20. They copied and pasted this together. A little bit of Pathfinder, a little bit of D20 Modern. Oh, let's throw in some fantasy races and just say that they're, genetic deviations, and we're good to go. It was a lazy hack. But yeah, mutant animals usually having to pick up the pieces of what's left of humanity's civilization and technology. That's often the other way that you're playing a mutant animal. And usually these settings are catered to where 9 times out of 10 you're playing a mutant animal. And depending on your system of creativity. See, now Fursona here, they're assuming you're doing it modern day, but there's no reason why you couldn't do an After the Bomb OGL type game. After the Bomb here, this one. You can use this to still play TNMT despite the fact that Palladium no longer has a license for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Well, see, they have it back now because with this Kickstarter where they put all the books together into 2 big books, Eastman and Laird are involved with this, which means basically they gave the license back to Palladium to do this shit like a few months back. So it came out like late last year. As I said, go to palladiumbooks.com and check all that out. Again, if you see Kevin, tell him the local Pollock says hi. Froze up. What? No, first saying I froze up. I'm still moving and grooving here, so I don't know what's going on with that. It has to be Twitch or something. Because I'm moving fluidly. There's no camera. The camera's not jerking or anything. I haven't bumped the cord here. So yeah. Those are usually... That's one facet of play. Now, the other facet of play is either you have been changed in some way into your animal form, or you are true breeding. In other words, it is a race. Now, changed, of course, can either be you were born and you were mutated either in utero or in your egg or whatever, or you are a normal animal that found some mutagen of some type, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles found the mutagenic ooze, and they start mutating. Again, it's probably a very painful mutation because you are adopting what is called a primate physiology. A primate physiology would be, hi, you're looking at a primate physiology. 2 eyes, somewhat of a nose, head atop shoulders, 2 arms, 2 legs, general primate physiology. The shape that humans and most of the primates have. Monkeys, gorillas, baboons, orangs, yeah. And so you can probably believe that it's probably going to be somewhat, because your physiology is changing, this mutation is not going to be, it's going to grow over time, and it's going to be kind of painful. But then you start realizing my flippers are turning into hands, and I am, my vocal cords have changed, and I can speak now. My throat's hurting all the time, and my vision is different. I now see in color, where before most animals only see in black and white. So yeah, it's just your character has gone through the mutation, or if you did, it was so far back you don't remember, or because of the pain you just blacked it out. You just remember, hey, I'm now in a humanoid form and I am aware of my own existence. And of course, sentience is we're still dealing with the concept of sentience, because the AIs we have now, could already beat the Turing test. Now, for those who don't know, Alan Turing was played by the Imitation Game, the movie played by, that one British actor, Cumberbund Bandersnatch or whatever, Benedict Cumberbatch. I know who it is, Butternut Crinkle Fries, that guy. Go to insaneian.com and check out his song Benedict Cumberbatch. Hey Ian, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, Alan Turing, the character, the British mathematician in the Imitation Game, computer specialists made up a test to determine if a computer could be considered sentient. The computer programs that we call AIs have already beaten that test, so we now have to come up with a better test. So sentience is kind of a weird thing, and of course, we're humans. We think that we're at the top of the food chain. We may find out that gorillas and dolphins are just as sentient as we are. They just show it differently. See, that's all, we're still trying to figure all that out and everything. So, yeah, sentience is a tricky thing. And then there's sapience, which is another thing altogether. It's not quite as much as sentience. But sentience usually includes the awareness of self. I know that I'm Robert E. Pulaski, a.k.a. your Uncle Trav. I am aware of my own cognizance and my own being. I do not act purely on animal instincts, although I've had some good moments when I have. Hi, honey. Love you. Is that thing? Rawr. Anyways. But we operate on a logical level, and we are aware of our own identity. And so when these creatures mutate, they're going to go through... they usually say the more intelligent a being, the more wrinkles on its brain. The brain will be mutating, nervous system will be mutating, the musculature, skeletal, ligaments and all that. These characters, if they are changed, it's going to be a very painful change. Look at Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy, what the High Evolutionary did to him and his 3 friends. I just saw episode 3 a while back. And you see all the cybernetics and genetic manipulation that went into Rocket, and you're seeing the implants on his back in episode 1, Quill's looking at him and just going, oh my God, what the hell did they do to him? And it was very painful and all this, where even Rocket said, yeah, you didn't have to go through getting ripped apart and put back together over and over and over again. Usually the mutations cause a lot of pain because, again, you are changing that animal's natural physiology to adopt a more anthropomorphized humanoid form. Or you have true breeding. Oh yeah, there's been 5 or 6 generations of true breeding humanoid pigs, and the genetic and I am no geneticist in any way, shape, or form. I suck at the life sciences big time. But the dominant alleles, which are traits that will be passed on permanently down your genetic line, the humanoid parts, let's say a humanoid pig that looks almost human, and then the humanoid pig that kind of looks like an orc, if they breed, their offspring will be a hybrid of that. It'll look a little less porcine and a little less human, that type of thing, but they are still true breeding. Orcs breed orcs. They can also mix with humans. You get half orcs, same thing. So yeah, these are the things you got to decide when you're playing the characters, or two of the things. Are they an outcast in the setting, or are they part of society? And has this anthro, this furry, been changed either through outside intervention or a mutagen that they've come in contact with, or it is a true breeding form? Is there a race of humanoid birds, or is there a race of humanoid hippos, or, and now I'm thinking Bowwet from Moon Knight, how she had that high-pitched squeaky voice. Or Stephen Grant is just yelling, "Yay, hippo!" Yeah. Moon Knight, Disney Plus, it was wonderful. And so these are some of the things you're going to have to decide playing an anthro character. Another thing is, and I mentioned this early on, there's basically 3 kinds of anthro characters. You have the ones that look nearly human, but you would just say, you know, you look kind of brutish. You kind of look like you put some tuss on, you'd be an orc. Or one that looks like your classic werewolf. Humanoid, but you know it's animalistic. Then you have anthros that are, they totally look like the animal, that their base animal, but they just happen to have human intelligence. They may or may not have speech. They may or may not have telepathy to make up for the speech. Speaking of Tritac, the anthros that they have there are animals with a capital A. And I play 2 of them in that campaign. One is a sidekick of Gina Jones's Marvel character. He is Boris. He is King German Shepherd from Russia, and he's symbiotically linked with Dr. Orla Tobin from Ireland. It was a forcible merger. He now has human-level intelligence and a bite that can go through battleship plate as well as psychic ability. Yeah, then I got Ace. Yeah, my real name? Frank Rizzo. What? Frank Rizzo? Open your fucking ears, jackass. You know, that my one character that I did, which is a combination of Frank Rizzo from the Jerky Boys and Rocket Raccoon. Where he's there and he's like, yeah, you better get that pickney flange on that DC-3. I'll wrap this wrench around your head, Jerky. You know. Yeah, so I do have other anthro characters I play. And I'm going to miss... Oh, and Tugin, of course. But that one's not mine. That's Brian Jeski's. But in the previous Friday night campaign with the aforementioned Gina Jones, I played Tugin. And that was a condition of her playing the game, that I played Tugin as an NPC. So I have done other anthro characters. But Ace, oh no, Fur is in that game. She plays 100 Eyes from Marco Polo, and I'm there, you know, looking like, you know, and because she's not in-house, so she's at home, it's on Skype. But I'm like, yeah, listen here, Baldy, you know, I don't need no fortune cookie, you know, shit from you. Just you keep your mouth shut. And of course, you know, 100 Eyes could just like smack Ace through a wall, but 100 Eyes is a much better man than that. Everybody else is sitting there go, do we smell like bananas? And, you know, yeah. So, Ace, for him, it was, yeah, he is still a 2-foot-tall, 20-pound spider monkey. But once he made that left turn and went to the hinterland, his mind started evolving, and he became sentient. And then later became the richest animal in the hinterland. He had to adopt Ace. He took the name Frank Rizzo, but he became Ace because, yeah, who's going to believe that a talking spider monkey got all this, you know, financial power? oh, look, I found this mini AI and I can mess with it and make a guy named Mr. Rizzo that talks through this, and he has me run his stuff for him because no one will believe that a monkey is the richest thing in, the hinterlands. So, yeah. And, of course, now the team knows this, and, it's... they still call him Ace, but yes, he is Frank Rizzo. He is, like, part of the money of the team. So, yeah, it's... But he is total animal form. He just has... His mutations are light. It's the brain and the vocal cords. There was some cybernetic stuff going on by an NPC of mine where he's got a bomber jacket and can pull out a laser rifle. Yeah. But, so, total animal form. You may or may not have speech. You may or may not have telepathy to, go for the lack of speech. But other than that, you are the animal form that your progenitors were. Then you have a hybrid. A hybrid perfect example would be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They look like humanoid turtles with a primate physiology. They can still do the stuff the turtles do. They swim really well. They're amphibious. They got the shells. They can pull their head and limbs in. And, avoid a lot of damage. But they have the humanoid physiology. They got the speech, and we had a generation of kids who got turtles from their parents and tried to feed them pizza. And it didn't happen. Because the damn weekday cartoon, the syndicated cartoon of turtles, the one that had, April as a white woman because apparently it's something Asian artists don't know how to, or like the people in Japan, because African Americans are so rare to them, they just made the character white because they couldn't draw African Americans. They just have, they could study and take picture, to look at picture. Okay, this is the skeletal form and how the hands are and the coloration. No, they just made April white. In the original TNMT, April O'Neil is a black woman. Long frizzy black curls, the brown skin. She is African American. We all know April is white because thank Asian studios that could not really draw black people. And I found that out. I'm like, wow, that's just, yeah. And then I realized how few black people there are in Asia. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see why they couldn't do it because, they didn't, it was something not in their realm of influence, their experience, their context. So, hybrid. Then we have the near human ones. These are the ones that, yeah, they got a thick beard. Yeah, I just shaved this morning. I'm already growing hair back. Yeah, I shaved this morning, 5 o'clock. I got a beard that looks like this. And it's because they have just that touch. Their mutations went to make them look as human as possible. So, oh God, there is a race that was in Eberron and they transported it over to Pathfinder. In Eberron they were known as the Shifters. In Pathfinder, they are known as skinwalkers, and basically it's a human with a touch of lycanthropic blood. They had a werewolf sometime in their distant genetic past, and so they can look a little more bestial. But they are not beholden to the phases of the moon. They can control these changes at will. And they could survive moderately in humanoid societies. They just look a little, the women might have like hair coming out like this. The guys might have the mutton chops and look kind of, But yeah, shifters / skinwalkers. Again, depending if you get them from Eberron or you get them from Pathfinder. Oh, they're in one of the later bestiaries. I want to say like bestiary 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that. But yeah, they would be considered anthros because they can assume that bestial form. So that's kind of that's another thing that you got to decide on is your level of anthropomorphism for your character. How much animal traits do you want? Or do you want to be able to switch between all three, like a Hengo Yokai or a lycanthrope? See, the thing with playing a lycanthrope, aware, is that you are still beholden to the phases of the moon. And there are those 3 days out of the month which you're just uncontrollable. I can't deal with you. You have to go in the cage. You've been a naughty puppy. Yeah. There are people watching this that are going, never do that voice again, which means I'm going to do it more. So yeah, you have these choices to do. Yeah, on Twitch here, I'm moving fine. I don't know what's going on here. Just, yeah. I'm looking on Twitch now, and I'm looking, and it's like, yeah, I'm moving around fine. So I just froze up for a little bit. So, yeah. So those are the various variables you got to put in when you are playing an anthropomorphic character. How do they fit in the setting? How are they racially? How is their appearance going to be, and can it change? I have one more, and it's more along the lines of the abilities they have due to the gifts of the animal race. Now, if you are playing a Minotaur, now we're going to talk the classic Minotaur here, the half-man, half-bull in the labyrinth on Crete. Very strong, about 9 feet tall, has the rack of horns on them, and they have the ability to navigate the maze. Now, in OGL, they say, yeah, you're immune to the maze spell, which you're sent to this extra-dimensional maze and lost forever. Excuse me. Ooh. Minotaurs are immune to that because they drew that race from the Greek myth. Now, let's say I want to play a humanoid dog, like Asia, my anthro Australian Shepherd with the different colored eyes. Again, it's called like polychromatism or something like that, where you have 2 different colored eyes. So let's say I want to play that dog. Okay, you know that this dog is going to have scent. It's going to have heightened hearing. It's probably going to end. I mean, dog's vision is okay. At the most, you might get color vision, but it's going to be akin to a normal human's vision. Their main things are going to be the hearing and the smell. 9 times out of 10, the dog is going to have, the humanoid dog, that anthro, is going to have a bite attack. Because it's still going to have the snout and the jaw power. You might want to give that, oh, it can run, but it can't carry anything. In other words, it can do a quadruped form and move faster. It's just, unless it's carrying the thing in its mouth, it's going to be walking upright. Now, you see here, also there's other things. Now, I always mess this up. I think this is, we are plantigrade. With how our human feet and legs are, we are plantigrade. This here, how you see the back knee and all this, like a lot of animals have, it's called, let me look that up. I'm going to look up digitigrade and plantigrade real quick so I don't screw this up. Because, well, as somebody out there, I don't like to be wrong. Digitigrade legs. Here we go. Yay, Google. Yeah, these would be digitigrade. We humans have plantigrade. Yeah, versus plantigrade. Yeah, plantigrade species are those who put the full length of their foot, including podials and metapodials, on the ground during each stride. Humans and bears. Digitigrade species walk with most of their length of their digits, but not the soles of their feet in contact with the ground. Yeah, we got the arches. Unless you got fallen arches, like mine are going to be soon because I'm on my feet all damn day. But yeah, I got this from animaldiversity.org. Legs, feet, and cursorial locomotion. Animal Diversity Web. So yeah. We humans are plantigrade. A lot of your humanoid animals, your anthros, are going to be digitigrade, where you have that bend back and then it comes down like Azure here. Let me see, did I do that with Zath and... Yeah, Zath and Anu are both digitigrade as well. Now, yeah, here we go. What? Trav didn't know something? The bitch is reaching for, she's there, going from Twitch now. Okay, Google Calendar. Trav didn't know something and had to look it up. Yeah, okay, yeah, as you're typing on the phone here. And yeah. So yes, digitigrade versus plantigrade. Now, let's see, where is that? I mean, it's really not gonna change your Digigrade and Plantigrade really shouldn't in your game system change anything. It's a cosmetic feature. It's okay, I want my character to have digitigrade legs like Azure, Zathan, Anu. I made Talon with plantigrade legs. Now, he was on, two claws on the front and the back claw, but he still put most of his weight on those talons. He didn't have the bent back legs like the other three Anthros did. So that's something else you need to look into. But it shouldn't change your character. It's not like, oh, if you're digitigrade, you get a 5 foot extra run. No, I've never seen that. Weapons. You can translate, oh, if the bird has talons and a beak, okay, then it's going to be, those type of attacks. Of course, if you are a horned or antlered creature, you're going to have a gore attack. And usually those are going to be of a bovine nature. Races like moose, elk, caribou, deer, or as we call them in Michigan, venison. Venison. I have to do this right. Venison. And start drooling here like Homer. So yeah, you're going to have that gore attack, or you're going to have a claw attack, either because, or a pincer attack. Let's say here's something, and they started exploring this later in Mutants in Orbit. Mutant insects. Yeah, I am a anthropomorphic praying mantis, like the thrycreen from Dark Sun, which they seriously nerfed in 3.0. I have an old co-host and buddy of mine, Eric the Enabler Spar, who went on an Enabler rant about how they nerfed the thrycreen from 2nd edition Dark Sun by TSR to 3rd edition. They looked like a 5 foot tall Manus Man. In Dark Sun, they had a six-legged toric, which means they had like the centaur where, it was the top part had the humanoid torso, and then it was a thorax with 6 legs. 6 plantigrade legs. And it was considered a large-sized creature. In 3.0 and on, they shrunk it down to medium size. It looked to be about a 5 foot tall Manus Man, or a bug man. He was pissed. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking going, oh no, I'd want to be that. Yeah, and they turned you into, something from out of a bug's life or ants or something, So yeah, you have, these are all things that you need to, when you have the animal or the non-human animal, insect, bird, whatever, do some research on what it has and what possibly... Now, obviously, like an After the Bomb with the Bio-E, we're going to look it up now, as a matter of fact, because I got 45 minutes. I have the time. Yeah, porcupine. Here you go. The sharp quills. Okay. Natural weapons, climbing claws, the quill defense. It's kind of a natural body armor. Physical attack with fist, foot, or body that rolls 12 or less will contact the quills and impale himself, taking 2d6 damage. The porcupine character can attack with the quills using a body block, basically running into and impaling themselves into the other person. And the quills are not shot out from the body, although a porcupine character can use quills as daggers by pulling them out and brandishing them as handheld weapons. Yeah, advanced smell and hearing, extra IQ and affinity, brute strength. The quills they have also, you can take a disadvantage. They're harmless, but they rattle continuously and shed all over the place, and you take minuses to prowl and to be tracked. Yeah. So you have your system for creating anthros will give you either flat out, okay, this is the animal, this is the shit that they can do, and some of it might be a disadvantage, or you have to research your animal, know what you want, and then like in Fursona Unleashed, they just give you everything and say, okay, I take the heightened senses, and I've got the claws, and I've got this, and I got this, and okay. And, or I will develop them later on as I mutate further as I level. Things like that. Gamma World, as I said, it's been so long since I've looked at Gamma World D20. I'm not sure how they do it. They probably do it with feats as well. I would have to look that up and get back to y'all. So yeah, when you make an anthro character, you got to know about the animal and the things it can do. Now, of course, you can give it whatever powers you want. Yeah, I'm a humanoid peregrine falcon. Yeah, I can do a controlled dive at 220 miles. By the way, the peregrine falcon is the fastest bird on the planet. It is the fastest avian creature because that 220 miles an hour, that's not just dropping. That is a controlled dive. Therefore, that is still considered flight. And something interesting about the peregrine falcon, they were endangered. The Michigan DNR decided to put peregrine falcon nests up on the high skyscrapers in downtown Detroit, which is about 30 minutes that direction from me. Like on top of the Penobscot building, the Chrysler building, and the Renset, and all. Because there were no natural predators in the city, the peregrine falcon is not even on the threatened list anymore. So good job, Michigan DNR. Now open up the docks near my dad's place so he can release a boat into the lakes up near Dexter and Chelsea and all that. See, they'll do some good, then they'll fuck something up. And I heard my dad one time bitching about, yeah, they closed down the dock down the street. I got to go all the 5 miles to get my boat in the water. You have a dock at your backyard, Dad. Yeah, I got to replace that, so I got to go to the DNR dock and they close it down. Yeah. But the DNR I had hydration as mandatory. Brita water. But yeah, the DNR did that over, oh God, it was decades. And the peregrine falcons are not endangered. They're not threatened. They're not even, people aren't even looking at them funny. But they are the fastest birds in existence with that 220 mile an hour controlled dive. And if that peregrine falcon is coming to get you and you're like a field mouse or something, you ain't going to see it coming. It's whoop, and gone. You are dinner. So you can add that in, heightened flight. Or you can do something also like, I can glide. I can start from a height, and for every 5 feet that I travel down, so it's diagonal. And, you have an updraft, and I'm back up again. Researching, JFGI, just fucking Google it. Researching the animal you want to do will get where you can sit there and sculpt this anthro to do all the cool shit that you want it to do. That, it can do this in human form. It's just, it can do this in its anthro form. Yeah, it's adapted to the primate physiology, but it still looks like a peregrine falcon. Now, as I said, with Zath and Anu, well, Zath, humanoid Pegasus, he's got that hoof kick. He also has incredible mental powers, but his thing is scent, speed, and that hoof kick. Now, Anu being a human, and of course, wing slap if you want to. Now, Anu being a humanoid unicorn, you would have, that horn, and I made it straight up humanoid unicorn. As in, hi, I had a unicorn, I used a bipedal template, and I forget where. I think I originally put her to OGL stats due to 3035 Savage Species. Now, there is for Pathfinder the Advanced Race Guide. But both Carrie and I have said, no, Savage Species was much more fun. There was a campaign that she and I believe Will were in. It was called Freaks and Geeks. You were not playing the original fantasy races. Again, that's human, dwarf, elf, gnome, halfling, half-orc, half-elf. No, it was Freaks and Geeks because, and of course, Carrie has her own Shartire, her world that has all, the Avachail and the Irien and all these other races that she's made up. In the Hardwired Hinterland game now, Wittershin's the Irien. In the Furies game, Kestrel was Avachail. The anthropomorphic bird. The one that, I'm going to try to be invisible and walk past this mech. Splut. Why did you do that? You just bent light. There's mass sensors. There's radar. There's sonar. There's gravity detection on these things. Yeah, no, it sensed there was something mass there. and it just punched you. Okay, well, I messed up. That is the one time I retconned to death in game. I said, okay, you know what? Yeah, we're going to let this slide. And I'm looking, it was when Carrie was still in Michigan. I'm going to let this slide. And, okay, thank you, Trev. Yeah. So, yeah, you have, if you research an animal, and the animal world has a lot of cool shit. There's abilities that animals have that, and I mean, just like, how birds all, in a school, a flock of birds, they all can, if you watch that sometime, that is cool as hell. Watching, a flock of birds just all turn at the same time. They just got that weird sense where they're all in sync. We humans got to train to do that, and then you got like shit like the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels. It takes years to do that. These birds just do it. They have that sense. So, yeah, you have these wondrous abilities that, like a spider. Yeah, it's going to have the web thing, and hopefully you're not going to have it come out of what would be its butt. But, you could sit there, it can, climb walls and, and do this and make the web. It might spit it out of its mouth or whatever. And of course, usually with a lot of animals, they'll get rid of the cold-blooded thing. Now, you could use it as a disadvantage. I do believe they'd have that in After the Bomb, and I know they have it in Fursona, where, yeah, the temperature drops below a certain point, you get lethargic and sluggish, and you just go into a torpor, kind of a hibernation mode until things warm up. Yeah, that could, see, there's advantages. I mean, you can just say, well, no, the humanoid physiology, they don't do that. Fine, you can do that. It's your character. But researching the stuff that animals can do some amazing stuff. We humans think we're at the top of the food chain, but you look, as I said, like, again, a flock of birds in flight and they're all following each other, or the ability for a bear to just, hibernate for like 6 months. And that's the thing. Before bears hibernate, they eat like a bunch of roots and berries and nuts and twigs to basically block themselves up. And then when they come out after hibernation, well, let's just say it's like an Austin Powers pee. Just, yeah. Except it's the other end. So, yeah, you have all these cool things that animals can do. And if you can translate into a superpower, or if you could turn it to 11, you have a monkey screech, and you could turn that into a sonic blast. There you go. You can do that. As I said, I've played Zathan Anu many times. I've played Talon. He's an epic level character, right? If I were to bring him into the Traveler's campaign, it's the Thursday game, people screwed up, and I'm having to bring in the big guns. Azure, I have never role-played. I have never made Azure a character. I've just had this character drawing that Sarah Kuntz did for me 25 years ago when she was a teenager and in the AOL chat room. Most likely she'd be post-apocalyptic. An Australian shepherd dog with the different colored eyes, walking, what's left of humanity's world, trying to survive. Oh, wait a minute. If I ever do the Robotech After the Bomb game that I hinted at in my first Robotech campaign, I might play Azure. And I'll have to do it OGL because my players did Palladium one time and they preferred OGL rules. So, it's because all the skills in Palladium are percentile and you can't add anything. You mess up that percentile, you're done. That's why. See, OGL, you got hero points and mythic points, and you can, you get bonuses, aid another and all this, and yeah. So yeah, when you sit there and you try to make an anthro or a furry character, you do have a lot of things you need to think of. There's a lot of things you got to put together. There's research that's got to be done. And the ideas are endless. We have everything from, oh God, I forgot one of the oldest anthro games out there. Son of a bitch. Why didn't I think? Steve Jackson Games, Toon, where you play a cartoon character and your things that you do are called shticks. Oh, I have the mallet that I can come out. Oh, I have the cigar that when you light and put in their mouth, it explodes. Toon. This game has been around since the 80s. There's an anthro game. If you want to just do all the slapstick shit, there you go. Warehouse23.com. You can get it there. You know, Bugs Bunny, where he's on the phone, he's about to play a Franz Liszt. Yeah, Franz Liszt, never heard of him. Click. Yeah. And it's pretty bad that most of us Gen Xers know about classical music from Looney Tunes. All of you people born 65 to 80 deny it. All y'all who are watching out there right now that you were born between 1965 and 1980, which is Gen X, deny that most of your classical music knowledge didn't come from fucking Looney Tunes. And just, yeah, so the amount of sources for anthro and furry characters literally span human history and even before. And you have these just incredible stories of gods with human heads and demons and, you know, tricksters. You have, you know, the raven, the trickster, and you have the coyote and Native American, and just, yeah, just, it's not hard to try to find inspiration to play an anthro character. And it's just, yeah, it's like people have these fursonas. And again, you do not use spirit animal because that is a cultural appropriation. And you do not use Patronus because, well, J.K. Rowling is a TERF. So, fursona. You're not stealing from the furry community. The furry community has no problem with you using it. I know many furries. Young man named Chris, mid-Michigan. He did the whole fursuit mascot thing, and now he's in all the, hey, look, yeah, you know, I'm in these, you know, clubs and all this, and I go to furry cons out of state maybe, and it's an old flames bestie. And so they have no problem with you using fursona because they know the other two terms are not to be used. So, yeah, if you have a fursona, you could put it in a role-playing game. You could sit there and say, okay, I found a campaign where I want to play me as how I feel I am, or how I want to be. I want to be this humanoid lion. Regal, majestic king of the jungle, and yes, I'm going to have the roar and the claws and the running and the scent, and we're going to say this, you know, lions, you know, yeah, and the bitches. Yeah. You see the lion, he's got his pride of lionesses. And they do the hunting. The lion just kicks back and relaxes and has all his lionesses do the hunting. Yeah. But there's always that one queen lioness that is the leader of the pride. The one that, you know, is, yeah, I run the show here. Yeah, all of you are in the group, but I'm the queen cat here. And just, yeah, I mean, a role-playing game would be a wonderful opportunity for someone who is of the furry persuasion to play their fursona. And if you can get that in there, this person will role-play the shit out of it because they'll get to do stuff that they normally don't get to do. And they can be the hero, and it's like, yes, I am, you know, Apex, you know, I am a humanoid, you know, I'm a humanoid bear, and, you know, I'm 7 feet tall and just a mass of fur and claws and, you know, muscle, and yeah, you know, I'm a humanoid Kodiak, and yeah, you know. So yeah, I mean, if you're a furry, role-playing games would be a good way for you to express that side of you that, because we all know about, and we're going to look it up here. Oh, here we go. Okay. We're going to look it up. We are going to go to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. Not IMVU. I need to get rid of that. I haven't played that in years. Okay. Okay, there is CSI, not Miami, not Vegas. Well, I want the original one, and it's there is the one. Okay, I'm talking the. Okay. God, 2000 that's been on? Okay, anyway, CSI, and it was back in the early Grissom days, before Lawrence Fishburne or Ted Danson took over on the thing. You had this episode that it involved the furry community. Basically, a guy in a furry costume was found dead on the side, and it totally just shamed the whole community. And you have, oh look, yes, and then we're going to introduce the furry community, and it's like they do that. And just a lot of the furry and a lot of other people were just like, okay, you did that. A lot of just geeks in particular, you did that community dry. You screwed them over. You made them look like weird ass deviants instead of just people who like to dress up. And there ain't nothing wrong with people dressing up in fursuits. I don't kink shame, so there's a subset of furries that there's other things going on. It's like, okay, it just, I think the term is plushy, and we're just not going to go there. Just you do you, or in that case, that. But just that not for me. Just no. Then of course there are certain things that are just illegal all overall, and we will not discuss these on these channels. But yeah, furries don't want to harm nobody. They dress up as animals. They have fun. They're not hurting anybody. They're not going to sit there and try to get your kids. They're just out to have fun. Leave them alone. Y'all don't like it when you get picked about on your football. Don't pick on them because they're dressed up as, a wolf. You do you. It just, yeah, that whole, I heard about that whole CSI thing, and I saw the clip where down the road and he was shot and all this, and I think it was, they figured it was a wolf, and they shot him because it was out and about, and it was some guy in a fursuit, and it was furry convention and all that, and I already knew that was gonna just not end well. Just, it was a bad PR thing for CBS. So yeah, just all of my friends out there who are furries, have fun at your furry cons. Make sure you wash your suits and everything to make sure we don't, they don't get funky. I know they can get hot, but yeah, you do you. And I know there are people that do it on like OnlyFans. You do you. That's fine. I don't care. But just all people, don't bug them that they're doing this. Because I've seen pictures of women in like, the white with black dot bikinis, and they got an udder right here, and it's fine. Fine. Leave them alone. They ain't hurting anybody. But yeah, playing furry characters, you can, as I said, you can act out being this fursona that you've had for years, and everybody's giving you crap on. You only tell a few people, yeah, I kind of identify as a humanoid dog, kind of, just being like alpha male, and I hate that term alpha male, but you know what? I'm the context I'm using it for. Yeah, I'm like the pack leader and all this, and yeah, you don't want to mess with me. Make the character up and have some fun. Find a GM who's willing to do that for you, and you get to have a little bit of gratification, to role play that out. Yeah, I think I'm wrapped up here. It's 20 to 10, so 9:40 here on February 12th, 2024. Yeah, 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can wrap this up. I can, put a bow on this. Now, I know that I have not been weekly with these, but real life calls. I had to pick up a friend of mine one time. Last week I had to do the monthly shopping trip with the roommate. And just, I'm going to let you all know now, in July I am moving. Now, it's either going to be one certain place, and then there is house hunting going on. Me and Fur were, yeah. But as of July 1st, I will no longer be in this. Yeah. So, house hunting, all that is busy. The campaign nodes are going to be sporadic from time to time. I'm letting you know now. I will do my best to try to keep doing this, but like mid-June, I'm just going to be totally off grid except for my phone. Because I'm going to be packing and yeah, and so no show, no podcast, none of that. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to keep doing this. It's just real life can be a bitch sometimes. So, yeah, everyone, yeah, Trav's not on again. Oh, that's right. He said on the furry episode that, plotting a move and packing and all this crap. And just, yeah, it is too much adulting. And again, that is why we get alcohol on the weekends, folks, because we have to adult during the week. So, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I will be back here tomorrow night on Twitch, also on dementiaradio.org for the Travcast, Part 3 of Blind Wolf's Rubber Room Association. Tuesday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. on dementiaradio.org and here on this Twitch channel, Trav31369. Please see Jeff DeRef, Professor Pixie, and Breakman Z for their video game content. Pix is on Wednesdays 3 to 5 Eastern p.m. Think there's a Pikmin's World thing going on right now. I will be back tomorrow night for the Travcast at 8 p.m. along with Jeff DeRef, doing newsreader and pop culture reporting duties. There will be comedy and other types of music. Comedy music, which we call Dementia after Dr. Demento. Barrett Hansen, nice guy. He comes up to about here on me. He's tall because of the top hat. And just, as I said, I've been doing this show 18 years. I'm Michigan's longest running internet radio DJ. Someone wants to prove they've been doing a internet radio show since before December 26, 2005. I got a digital footprint. You know where to find me. Until then, I have that title. So yes, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel, which is Trav13369. It will be up probably before 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. As I said, playing anthro/furry characters, it's something different, and you have plenty of resources to draw from. Just as my one former fellow podcaster, J.P. Haley, said, just rub off serial numbers. So this is your Uncle Trav saying gaming is just collective storytelling. Get some friends together and tell some good goddamn stories. See y'all tomorrow night on the cast.